Good morning. Give ourselves just a minute. Let more people flow in here. Glad to see everyone is awake and and joining us today. All right, we're going to give it just a minute or two. We'll call it, we'll start with mostly military precision. Allie, good seeing you here today. Ann Tarpey, of course. Anthony, Armando, great to see you all. For those of that were with us yesterday, we had a wonderful day, really good conversation, an amazing panel, and we're looking forward to the same for today. Just had a good discussion with everyone, and I think we're all primed and ready to have a good conversation and hopefully chart some things for the next year or 5. All right, I'll get started in just another 30 seconds. Everybody take a sip of coffee. All right. So welcome back and thank you for joining us. This is the 12th annual statewide symposium in support of service members, veterans, and their families. It's quite a thing to think that we've been doing this for 12 years in a row. And I think when we first started off, we had a little bit of a wing and a prayer. And here we are. Life is funny sometimes, but we're happy to be with you. My name is Thomas Winkel. I'm the director of the Arizona Coalition for Military Families. I'm a United States Marine that served in Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm as a combat infantryman. And I have the honor and privilege today to be your MC. We had a great day yesterday and we are looking forward to our time together. We value your time with us today and promise not to be a belt made of watches, otherwise known as a waste of time. So we'd like to start you off with our nation's Pledge of Allegiance led by Marine Leslie Vivial. Leslie?
Good morning, Thomas. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Leslie. And hoorah to your background, right? So now I'd like to introduce Navy veteran Dee Person. She is with the coalition. She is really quite a remarkable individual. She is a community engagement program manager. She is more squared away than a Marine on inspection day, more grounded than a soldier in a foxhole. She allows her team to fly higher than the Air Force and, like the Space Force, is out of this world. Dee?
Good morning, Thomas. Thank you so much. First, I'd like to acknowledge our partners and planning team who pulled together in order to create the best possible 2-day event for all of you. The 2022 Planning Committee has been working on this event since October. And if you were in attendance yesterday, you witnessed and experienced the effort these individuals put into planning and coordinating this statewide event. There is no other event like this where the entire community can interact and problem solve with directors of organizations, as well as frontline workers within the social services. So if you happen to have one of these planning committee members in your breakout sessions today, please thank them in the chat box. We all do this work because we believe in the mission and we're passionate about the impact we have on each individual that we interact with. Thank you again, 2022 Planning Committee. Next, I'd also like to recognize our event sponsors whose support makes this event and our virtual conference center possible. First, our title sponsors, the Arizona Department of Veteran Services and the Phoenix VA Healthcare System. A special thanks to the Governor's Office for the Youth, Faith, and Family and the Arizona Healthcare Cost Containment System for their continued partnership and support. To our partner sponsors, Mercy Care, Tri-West Healthcare Alliance, and Arizona Public Service. Thank you. And all of our supporting sponsors, Solari, Honor Health, Banner University Health Plans, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona, the NARBA Institute, Molina Healthcare, and AARP Arizona. Thank you to all. Each of these organizations not only help sponsor this event, but partner with us. They are involved every day in the work that we do to help our service members, veterans, family members, and their caregivers. Thank you again. Back to you, Thomas.
Thanks, Dee. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you to each and every one of our sponsors. Your support allows us to be able to do even more things and be able to bring you today, which is, hopefully to everybody's satisfaction. And we really appreciate all of your support, not just in the financial side, but really primarily on the partnership side, the other things that we're able to do. So thanks. All right. So folks, if you have not met Director Wright, I'm going to implore you, get out of your house, because she's kind of everywhere and it's hard to miss her. She is really just quite remarkable in the energy and enthusiasm that she has brought as the director of the Arizona Department of Veteran Services. And if you listen to her talk, I mean, I think of her as a piggy bank. She's filled with common sense. Please join me in welcoming.
God, Thomas.
Please join me in welcoming Air Force retired Colonel Wanda Wright. Yeah, I'm on a roll today, aren't I?
It's funny, Thomas and I were just talking about how difficult it is. You know, you all are on mute, so we can't hear you laugh at our jokes. And so we do the best we can, right? So thank you, Thomas, so much for that great introduction. Today, we're going to do a lot of talking about our Be Connected community core. And I'm super excited about this aspect of Be Connected. We have helpers all around the state. You know, there's been navigation training, there's been military to civilian training. And I know that we have thousands of navigators around the state, as well as our partners and providers. And so I think elevating our community core as helpers can really pull us all together to tighten the network we already have. And it's exciting, I think. I've always just sort of envisioned that every person in Arizona could help a veteran because we've trained them, they know what to do, they know how to refer. And, you know, that's my greatest sort of dream, being in my position. And so I appreciate the fact that we, through Be Connected, are moving this particular program forward. I think it will support a lot of our rural communities, and that there will be more people there to help refer to the resources that we have through Be Connected, as well as other resources out there. You know, in each community, there are those special organizations that can help. And so, you know, I look forward to our discussions today. I feel like we have some problem solving that we're going to do today that I'm very, very excited about. Some of these are wicked problems: transportation, homelessness, and those community helpers can really support the veterans in their communities and can really drive the veterans to the resources that they need. And so I look forward to today. We have some great panelists, and I know that you will be interested in what they have to say. And in the breakouts, there's some really good discussion sessions that are going to happen today. And I get to brief about transportation today. So I'm really excited about today. So thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Wanda. All right. So yeah, I love Wanda's comment there, that some of these things that we are all attempting to solve, they're wicked problems. They're very, very complex and complicated. So, you know, when we are constructing things to help support, we always refer back to the ecosystem of support. Because it is in essence made up of people. It's made up of organizations. It's made up of systems and communities, and we're all toeing the same line. We are in support of service members, veterans, and their families, and making it so that they can have the best life possible. We've spent over a decade with the Coalition proper cultivating that ecosystem and making it so that it's refined and vetted, and you know, everybody has lots of good best practice type of information. It's really important and it's really unique. But at the heart of it all, regardless of how you look at this, it's people, both formal and informal helpers throughout our community who care for, serve, support, love, monitor, mentor, challenge, you know, our service members, veterans, and their families, so that they can be connected to the right resources or have the life that they are looking forward to or don't have yet. And so to strengthen how we best support all those helpers, all of us essentially, including myself, including Wanda, our panelists, and everybody else in this virtual room that we have today, we've created this thing called the Be Connected Community Corps. And it's a deepening of over 12 years of experience with efforts like the Navigator program. And I, for one, just like Wanda, am very excited about it. So, Jeff, would you mind playing that video?
Be Connected is an ecosystem of support for Arizona's 500,000 service members, veterans, and their families. Community helpers are an essential part of that ecosystem. And you can make a difference in Arizona's military and veteran community by joining the Be Connected Community Corps. The BCCC is here to help you to help others by equipping you with the knowledge, skills, and confidence to help, connecting you to opportunities to serve, and supporting you all along the way as a helper. Being a part of the BCCC can look different for each person. Do you want to help but don't have much time? Learn about Be Connected, and when you see someone in need, tell them that support and resources are available. Give them the phone number or help them to make the call. Do you have time and want to do more? Plug into one-time and ongoing volunteer opportunities with the vast statewide network of Be Connected partners. Looking to get more involved? Consider opportunities like mentoring a transitioning service member or becoming a volunteer driver. Join us, and together we can connect every Arizona service member, veteran, and their family to the support, resources, and community they need to thrive. Visit connectveterans.org/BCCC or call 866-429-8387.
So I am a huge fan of various programs that have demonstrated success. I remember my father was a Depression era child, and he recalls vividly the CCC, the Civilian Conservation Corps, that assisted with the 1/3 of unemployment that we had during the Great Depression. It, you know, there are still bridges and you know, hotels and all sorts of things that were built by the Civilian Conservation Corps in the 30s. It was a remarkable program, and it helped galvanize the country around solving a couple of different problems. One was building infrastructure and enhancing our national parks, things like that. But the other was to try to give folks some skills and upskill them and be able to educate them into some new employment strategies that had been going on, or some new work strategies that have been going on at that point, and mainly to keep people fed, right? And so that always had a huge impression on me. The AmeriCorps program has been something that's been near and dear to my heart for years. And so I'm a commissioner with the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family for volunteer efforts with regard to AmeriCorps. Love working and doing that. But when you look at how we have grown over the years, and Russell Nastari is a really good example of that. He's going to be speaking on our panel today. We immediately, back in 2009, went after volunteers, how to train them up and get them educated and knowledgeable about what was going on in the military community. You know, there were lots of misreports and all sorts of different things. Prevalence of PTSD, 80% of individuals have it. Oh, this is, we wanted to correct the record. We wanted to make sure, even if someone does have post-traumatic stress, that they're not an immediate danger. They're struggling. They're having a hard time. They're normal people who have witnessed abnormal situations. So, we throw all of those things in together. And then we really started looking at what do we need to do over the next 5 years? And this is not going to change the fact that there are already thousands of Arizonans serving as helpers. The Arizona Housing Coalition and their stand downs is a great example of this. Boy, that has been well staffed, well volunteered by people for a long time. And it's a testament to what the potential is for activities for helpers. And so what we want to do is strengthen how all of us are equipped, how we're all supported, and how we're all connected. We want to make sure that we're the organizations that need helpers, that don't have the ability to reach out and try to, entice folks in, that they've got a voice as well. It's really important if we're going to be able to solve the larger problems that we have, which are very complex and very complicated. And this is a nice, elegant solution to that. So more to follow as BCCC continues to roll out. What I'd like to do now is introduce you to our panelists. With us today are leaders, really, who have dedicated themselves to expanding the ecosystem of support in a variety of different ways. Please remember that we have full bios in your packets. I'm not going to do anybody justice. I'm going to try to, describe a little bit, but they're all really, truly remarkable people. And the full bios are in the packets and also in the conference center. So Maria Fuentes, the director of the Governor's Office of Youth, Faith, and Family. She has worked nationally in the White House and obviously for the great state of Arizona with Governor Ducey. From Tucson, I'd like to introduce Rocio Carey. She is the military liaison for Raytheon, and they really exemplify corporate social responsibility, not because it looks good, it does, but because she breathes it. She just does this out of her good nature, and I think you'll see that today. From Mojave County, we have Russell Nastari. He is the public relations officer for the Marine Corps League, or the MCL, who very, very, very clearly sees how veteran service organizations and Be Connected must work together and not sit idly by while veterans suffer alone. He's very active, and he's got some really nice things to say. And then we have Drew Trojanowski. You've seen him before with us in the past, speaking about some different subjects. He is the Assistant Vice President of Strategic Initiatives from Arizona State University. he is the man, and I'm just going to credit you with this, Drew, who bent the ear of the late Senator John McCain on what was possible in Arizona with regard to the Clay Hunt Act, which I spoke about yesterday, and what was possible and why that would be a good thing to bring that into Arizona. And so we're always grateful for him. And of course, you know Director Wright already, and I hope that you will find each of these panelists and their comments are essentially like a fish wearing a bow tie. They're very sophisticated. So we greatly appreciate each one of you joining us today. That is the end of my dad jokes. Probably get rousing applause from that. And we're gonna jump right into this. All right. So thank you, Wanda. Doing the best I can here, folks. All right. So Maria, Director Fuentes, look, I mean, you've really been just a remarkable advocate. Your office has been amazing, and all the staff within it, making sure that service members, veterans, and their families are, high on the priority list of folks that we want to make sure are being taken care of. I could go on with lots of different things that your office has done, but what I can tell everybody here is that they're official veterans or official service member supporters, if you will. What do we want Arizona's helping community to look like 5 years from now?
Thomas, thank you for having me back with you. I think this is such an important topic, and I'm very grateful that you're spending time talking about our volunteers, our helpers, because really, Wanda, you speak of transportation. Sometimes it's as simple as, having the services available, but people not being able to just get there. And so there's a lot all of us individuals can do, even if we're not experts or therapists or service providers by our profession, which is a critical, important part of the helper community. But there's a lot that our volunteers and our laymen can do in our communities to help people access services, get to a place of healing and thriving. And so for me, as I look at BCCC and networks like this, what I'm seeing is an increased investment in our helpers, increasing that investment in having networks that are trauma informed, that are culturally competent, which is what I hear when I hear BCCC, is that, the military community, our veterans and our military families, that is a culture in and of itself. And it can be intimidating sometimes to those of us that did not come up through military circles, and we want to help, but we don't know how. And so having a network like this and information like this can just increase the support that we give to our helpers, so they can in turn support our veterans and our military families, which will in turn increase their outcomes and their success. And that is why people like to help, right? Nobody in the service industry and in communities and helping and volunteering is in it for the money. We're in it to help people and to see these outcomes and to see people thrive and to see them improve throughout their lives. And so by building networks like this, when you're building the capacity, that cultural competency, you're just improving the success of the people that you're serving, but also growing that network of helpers, which is what I'm seeing happening in Arizona and hope happens throughout the future. Additionally, that faith-based community piece that we talk about so often. We have so many churches and faith-based providers throughout the state that are constantly doing this work of service and this work of helping others. Connecting that to our secular providers and our secular helpers, we're all working towards the same goals. We're all serving in a secular manner. And so building those bridges, because what we know is we have a great deal, if not most, of our people that we're trying to serve, that spiritual component is so critical to their recovery and their improvement in whatever journey they are in. And so for those for whom that is important, building that bridge with our secular and our faith-based helpers, I think, is an important part of this ecosystem and network as well.
Maria, holy mackerel. That was amazing. I love the concept. I think it's really important for everyone on this call to remember there is an intimidation factor when you're breaking into any new kind of culture or group of folks. It's a little bit like, well, maybe I don't belong or things like that, and we don't believe that. We take a very open line that everybody has the opportunity to be able to serve and support and those things. I'm just gonna I listened to a podcast of yours a couple of weeks ago, and I guess it was last week. But you said something really cool. It's a little bit different, but I want people to just ponder and chew on this for a little while. You made a remark that said that if each faith-based community, like churches, temples, synagogue, those, if each one in Arizona were had someone there that was able to do foster parenting, that we would essentially eliminate or severely reduce the number of kiddos living in foster care. I loved that. It gives me chills right now. And I think of that also with the veteran community. If each faith-based community out there was engaged, I think we'd have some veteran families that are moving from just kind of surviving barely sometimes to really thriving. And so I just kind of want to add that thought. Maybe I'll come back to that in just a little bit, but let me move on for a sec if I can. So Drew, you're a veteran. And you really started a kind of a remarkable career trajectory, starting off as a helper. I think about the garden, right? And so based on your experience, what would you recommend to service members who are just entering into the civilian life? And please include spouses and families, if you would, keeping in mind the whole concept of helping out. I mean, that's literally what you did. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. And so, the weird career trajectory for me too was very much informed and based on just volunteerism and or being of service to my community. From the onset, I showed up at an event that I thought was going to be for, community supported agriculture. So I could get a box of food, and it turned out it was an ask to build a garden, which is what started me on this whole process, which was, hey, there's an opportunity to need here.
Drew, I'm afraid you've paused.
Say again?
Sorry,
there lost you for a second.
We lost.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Well,
say what you said for the last 20 seconds.
Well, the big picture is, I wanted to get into a new field, and that's actually how I connected with everybody in this community, was continuing to be of service. I mean, I joined AmeriCorps and figured out how to support and develop a new veterans program, knowing that I didn't know anything in the policy space, knowing that I didn't know anything in the actual space. Created an opportunity for me to learn, and it was that continuing to be of value, and that has persisted throughout. So for my own career trajectory, whenever I would like to go do something else, it's the time that you take to learn these new skills, that intimidation factor that you were talking about, the challenges that come with having to learn a new skill. You can support your own community and also learn those new skills at the same time. So there's an immense value in being able to find these opportunities to continue to serve, both your military community and the community abroad, and then also define and hone a set of new skills that can carry you and project you on to, new life.
Yeah, thanks for describing that. I think I think that's really important for really all of us to keep in mind. I kind of had you focused on the exiting service members and their spouses or their family members, but the reality is it applies to all of us. And I'll say again, I kind of love the trajectory that you had, essentially from a community garden to DC. That's cool. And it was because you had a helper, kind of a servant orientation to you. So thanks for that. All right. I don't know why my own hand is up. Okay. That's a good day. All right. So Russ, let's bring you into the conversation. So as a VSO, a Veteran Service Organization member, why did you advocate to align the Marine Corps League with Be Connected? I mean, you were pretty steadfast with it.
Well, we have to go back about almost 10 years when we first connected, when you came to Havasu to introduce the coalition to us. The mayor was a sponsor and supporter, and you had a brigadier general, I think, who was accompanying you on a tour around the state. And that's when I learned about the coalition. And I've always, in business, I was an alliance kind of a guy. And I think the synergy you get from the right members on a team is just absolutely unbelievable. So, your concept connected right away. And there's two aspects of it. Number one is the organization at the top and everything you've done to pull this together, and then the boots on the ground. And so how do we get the great message and resources that you have available to the people who are in need, and it's the boots on the ground. And that's what these organizations, our organization, represents. We put together a veteran court resource team shortly after your first visit here. And we started with a half a dozen people at a meeting, and the Legion and the Veterans of Foreign War, and a mayor's office representative, a court representative, a veterans court representative, a nucleus that got together. And now that veterans resource team is about 50 strong, 50 organizations strong, with covering every discipline that anybody's going to need anything. So that's the Be Connected aspect, and the Be Connected community core is that's where we're headed with this. With the Marine Corps League, it's a natural fit, and I appreciate and hats off to both Wanda and you, Colonel Wright, respectfully, and you, to Marine Thomas, that you came to Havasu and talk to our Marine Corps League officers from throughout the state last October. And you're going over now to Las Vegas, and you're going to talk to the Southwest Division Marine Corps League, which consists of members from Hawaii, California, Nevada, Arizona. And you're just sharing a wealth of knowledge to get this concept going anywhere that anybody takes to it. And we can do the job. We just need to get the information. What information, communication, technology, is that where we are today? Get the information out, and we have the tools to do that. We have the resources to take care of folks and people and their problems. And we have the 25 detachments in the state of Arizona. In fact, during the warm-up session earlier, I was talking about, just received 2 days ago, request for a car payment, two car payments in arrears because of COVID. He was out of work, and he's being threatened to take his car away. So we can pay, and we can do that on the surface, immediate kind of a thing ourselves. But now we have to go back deeper, like your ecosystem. He was ill, so that's not really a bad deal, and so he will probably find a job. But how about those that don't have the tools and the resources? You are the vehicle. We're the conduit, and you're the electricity that's going to go through that pipe and get the information down to the people in the trenches. And that's what I love about it. And we had a person. I attended both sessions yesterday on homelessness. We had a Marine woman a little while ago with a couple kids and a couple dogs evicted because the house was sold, and she lives in Cottonwood. House was sold, and she's put to the curb. All of her belongings packed in cardboard boxes in one of our officers' garages. And she's she was living in a car for a few days. And so we gave her hotel money and take care of those things. And we've also then connected her to homeless help. And that's the key of all of this, is just we're not puff and fluff kind of people. It's meat on the bones that we have, and if we're paying attention to what's going on, we can do a lot of very meaningful help. And, I thank you, Thomas and Nicola and Dee and Amanda and Amy and your team that's been supportive and helping me for the last few years. And hats off to you. Coming up next week or two, we're starting to have meetings again in person. Hospice of Havasu has a quarterly meeting, has had in the past quarterly meetings of about 25 or 30 organizations from the community. And not just hospice, but the churches, the lawyers, anybody that wants to come in and talk about resources, we will be at that meeting. And I have all kinds of tools. I ordered a lot of supplies from your office down there, and I have them in my possession, and I'll be handing them out. I'm looking to increase the network up here and expand our network statewide and beyond. And I'm elated with the program. And on a personal note, two notes, and I'll cut it off. Yeah, I grew up in a large Italian family, and we learned respect and work and take care of each other, and we were brought up in the church and the commandments and St. Thomas of Assisi, and you name it, and those things, all those lessons stick. And I think that's what the core of this is all about, is, as far as I'm concerned personally. We're here to help, and we have the tools to help. We just have to get off of our rear ends. So
I think that is the perfect yeah, and you are not a rear end sitter, Russ, and so that's the beauty. And the reason I let you go a little bit longer is because I love listening to just the sheer number of things that you're engaging with. The theme that kind of runs through it is that it's connecting, and that's obviously Be Connected. It's why we called it that. But from a VSO level, a veteran service organization, the American Legion, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, all the different ones, and there's many out there. Some of them nationally recognized, some of them more towards the state side of things. They're all critically important. What you figured out is that you're like tapping into the larger structure of the governor's office, of Department of Veterans Services, of the VA, to be able to help support individual members within your community. To me, it was always a little, I struggled with understanding why we would provide financial services or financial support to folks without connecting them into other things that are going to help get them out of the situation that brought them there in the first place. You saw that really quickly and said, yeah, so every time we provide financial assistance from the Marine Corps League, we're going to make sure that they're connected to Be Connected so they can get in touch with all the other resources and then resolve the problem. No more Band-Aids. We're going to resolve the problems. And so my hat's off to you. Kudos.
You,
and the number of networks and whatnot, that's not the coalition. That's not Department of Veterans Services. That's not governor's office. That's not the VA. That's you and everyone else in Mojave County that makes it work. And so we're going to use the BCCC to help support you even further with that. All right.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your kind words, Thomas.
Those are all yours. All right. Wanda, let's bring you in for a second. What do you think? What do you think of all this so far?
So, my vision, Thomas, is that the whole of Arizona is one tight network for veterans, and it's getting real close, right? We've kind of sewed up, like you said yesterday, seamless coordination?
Yeah, that was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a really good connection, I think, that Jamie said. And so the seamless coordination means that there's no holes, right? All the seams are sewed up. And we're getting there. All of the pilots that we've done over time based on community suggestions, all of the work we've done in legislation is based on our constituents, the veterans, saying, hey, we need this. And so I feel really great about where we're headed. One of the things I always like to talk about, especially when we talk about our community core, our navigators and those helpers that want to be out there, is that it's so simple. Russ talks about this all the time. And so does Pete Klober up in Northern Arizona. All you have to do is
Thank you.
pick up the phone. Everybody from that point on helps you to do what you need to do. So the helpers can feel very confident and comfortable about making that phone call, knowing that they aren't responsible necessarily for the individual, that they'll get help on the other side, that things will keep rolling forward for the individual that they're trying to help. And so that's what I just so much love about Be Connected, the simplicity and the collaboration. We can make all of this seamless if we're just willing to pick up the phone to help somebody, or if you're a partner, you're willing to make sure your organization has the will to support the navigation and resources part of it. So, you know, everyone's spoken a little bit about all of that, but it takes all of us. And so as all of you out there in our audience are listening, the 173 of you, you know, take to heart. It's always a great feeling when you help somebody. Thanks, Thomas.
You're welcome, Wanda. Thank you. All right, Rocio. So I just met you, you know, a couple of months ago. You were on Arizona Corporate Council for Veteran Careers call. I think I've been hearing little whisperings out there from the career navigation team about this awesome person. I think there have been some other references, you know, previously, maybe a little bit earlier than that, but that's when I first started really. And, you know, I just have to say, I was just really impressed. So look, you hold a really important position with a company, Raytheon, that has kind of a mystique in the veteran world, because you make amazing missiles and a lot of other things. I actually, that was what I did while I was in the Marine. I was in the Marines, but I fired the TOW-2 Alpha. And so tube launched, optically tracked, wire guided command length missile system. Still remember that from my training days. And but it has a certain mystique. But you know, you dedicated really a large portion of your personal time to helping efforts, volunteering efforts in your community. How do we connect with and grow more people like you in other employers and other corporations? How do we do that? What's the secret? I guess we should probably have your mom and dad here, really.
It's fine. I was one of those, I was ready to go out and help, right? There's going to be others that just don't know. They got out of the military, they transitioned well, they're living their life, you know, not really with that big view of the rest of the veteran military community out there. Okay. Invite them. Hey, come to lunch. Some of us vets are going to get together for beers. There's a whiskey club, a beer club, just lunch. And then while they're there, everybody's going to be talking about all the volunteer work that they're doing in the community. And you know what? We need help. Would you want to come volunteer with me? Or they may just be like me, like jumping in, like, yeah, where do you need me? Let's go. Right? I can mop floors, whatever, right? Wherever you need me. But just get the word out. Even just a little invite like that. It doesn't even have to be a volunteer opportunity. Let's just go have lunch. Tell me about you. And that's where it's all going to come about. And when they see your face light up, talking about your volunteer and your community service, they're going to want that. They're going to want that. You know, I was one of those when I transitioned initially out of the military. It was an easy transition. I got a job like that. My daughter comes home with a flyer and says, Mommy, they need Girl Scout leaders or I can't be a Girl Scout. I am a go-getter. Let's go, darling. I'll be a leader. And because of that, I was connecting these girls with a lot of other community partners. And that's how I got back into the veteran community. And I realized there's a lot of issues going on. Homeless women and vets was just one of them, right? And then, of course, moving out here, relocating out here with my husband, I couldn't find work. Well, I'm going to volunteer. I got to do something. I can't sit at home, right? And it helped me, you know, because of that community connection, that volunteer work, I ended up in the position that I'm in right now. I had another woman vet that I met through community service, tag me on LinkedIn, another vet that I met through my volunteer service, who happens to work at Raytheon, put in a recommendation for me. And here I am. And of course, I was, you always kind of wonder back, why did I go through the trouble of finding work? Well, that's why. Very heavy centered on learning on all these programs that are out there to help you get back into work. Having all those connections in the community, your nonprofits, state, local boards, committees, and everything, that helped me get this position, because I went into this job and I have no HR background, but I know how to get you these resources. I know how to connect you to this. Hey, there's grants out there in the opportunity. People just think, oh, VA, maybe VSOs. They didn't think about Arizona Department of Veteran Services, their state veteran services, city, county services is there. It may not be specific to veterans, but they're going to help veterans too. Then your community just starts growing from there, your network. You just got to be open to it, right? So it's how you want to, and you get to choose how in depth you want to go with your volunteering. You can grow it, keep it small, but it's whatever helps you. And at the same time, you're helping the community. Just like you were talking about what Maria said, if everybody just pitches in just a little bit, you make a huge impact. And I'm going to tell you, Arizona, I'm a Texan. I love my Texas. We're patriotic, whatever. We love our veterans and our military. Arizona smoke states. Sorry. We smoke all the other states when it comes to veteran resources. There is no reason why there should be a veteran in need. Just like you're saying, Tom, everybody comes in and it's just reaching out, right? And we're going to have each other as volunteers helping us talk through and say, hey, go get help. It's okay. I've been through it. I went through nonprofits. I've been through VSOs, state, VA. I've done all those resources. I've reached out to them. I've used them. And I'm now getting them all together for our employees here at Raytheon. You may not know you need it, but here you go. Here's pamphlets for this.
Mhm.
I give them a nice welcome packet of community state resources.
That's
And they're
good.
just like bombarded, like, wow. And I'm like, get out there, volunteer. Right. How do we know what the employment issue is out of the community if we're not out there?
So, yeah, I mean, first of all, I'll say, I think your dog agrees with you about that Arizona is smoking the other states. It sounded like a little anger, like they should really do stuff too, right? They should.
It's just little Chihuahua too.
Yeah, I mean, they should be doing something like Be Connected as well. So I agree with your dog. Thank you for all of that. The thing that I wanted to kind of point out with both Rosio and with Drew is that what they did is they got engaged, they got involved. And I don't think that either one of them got engaged and involved because they wanted to find a job. I think that happened as a natural part of their engagement and their networking that was occurring in the course of their helping activities. So, I just offer that up as a insight or a thought for people to think about as well. So one of the things that comes up quite frequently is the issue of funding, support for helping efforts around the state. The Arizona Community Foundation and other community foundations across the state have a really important role. Other philanthropic enterprises have a really important role for things. Maria, would you mind talking with us a little bit about how community foundations and other philanthropic organizations can help support veteran helping efforts?
Absolutely. I think it's so important. One of the things that when I walked into this job and I got to know Be Connected and ACMF right away, one of the things that was most impressive to me and appealing as an investor is that you have a very diversified influx of funds, right? You don't rely on one grant or one formula entitlement from the federal government, et cetera. Braiding funding and making sure that you have different sources of whether it's state, federal, local funds to support any initiative is a key to success. But that public-private partnership and making sure that that private side, that private investment side is strong is really, really critical, because any of us that have had to deal with federal or state funds, there are strings. It is prescriptive, it is specific, it is narrow. And when you're trying to help a human heal, it is not specific and narrow. It is complicated and it is ever changing and evolving. And so the service provider and the delivery mechanism needs to be flexible and innovative. And that's what private funds and philanthropy can do that sometimes government funds can't do. They are an incubator for innovation. You can invest in a pilot or an idea to demonstrate its efficiency and then bring in all of these other braided funds, whether it's federal, state, et cetera, because you've demonstrated that innovation. Private funds can also help fill gaps. You know, we may not be able to, we have all of these services, but we don't have transportation. Maybe we need to recruit more volunteers. So it can be both on that funding for innovation, gap filling, amplifying. It can also be helping recruit helpers. You have a diverse philanthropic universe in Arizona, and they're very active and they're across different areas of interest. So again, we're talking about helping humans and people who are complicated and have diverse areas of interest. And maybe they're associated with arts, or art really speaks to them. And there's a philanthropy for the arts that can help recruit volunteers in that space, right? So really thinking outside of the box, because when you're talking about helping people, we have to look at everything. And philanthropy brings that, especially in Arizona.
What a power-packed answer. Yeah, I really appreciate that. The role of you talked about kind of filling in gaps. Wanda and I can talk with everyone about when we first started Be Connected. For those of you who saw the Be Connected kind of 5-year retrospective video that we showed yesterday, one of the things we talked about was we started off with one person on the call line. And that was funded by Department of Veteran Services and a little bit from the Arizona Coalition for Military Families. We kind of cobbled some money together, but we needed more, clearly, right? Before we could go after the kind of federal things and state, larger state funding streams. And so we utilized a philanthropic organization to help fund 3 navigators, one for each section of the state, north, central, south. And I mean, Wanda, you recall that was a big moment to be able to expand and fill in a gap that we needed to have filled in. We needed to know if the peer support model would work, and that was the start of that.
Yeah, yesterday I was real dramatic, when talking about just the evolution of Be Connected and just how proud I am of it. Because way back in April, when we started with that one person in the call center, we got 5 calls that first month, and we had this symposium, and we launched the program. And, like I said yesterday, on a wing and a prayer, we were like hoping this thing would work, got our 3 navigators. And you're right, it's about will, right? You and I saw that this thing could work based on your experiences. We decided that we would put whatever money we could toward it to get the thing started. And then we were going to talk to everybody about it. And then before we knew it, we had 50 people working for Be Connected. I mean, I still can't believe it today, but it with help, people like Drew, in McCain's office at the time, Senator McCain himself kind of seeing what we were doing. I just, like I said, I still can't believe where we are today based on where we started 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's really remarkable. And so I think You know, when we look at all these different things, I just encourage people to consider, you know, as you continue to expand or consider programs where you are enlisting helpers, whether it be informal or formal, to connect with us with the BCCC, because what you're seeing here is this collaboration. It's not just the governor's office, incredibly important, huge. It's not just the Arizona Department of Veteran Services, incredibly important, again, incredibly. It's not just the VA, same thing. It's not just, it's also folks like Russ and Rosio, who are, and Drew, you know, a couple of years back, he would have been involved in this. Now he's supporting from more of a leadership position, but you get the idea. And so I really appreciate everyone on this panel. You are officially sophisticated in your comments. And just nothing but appreciation for everything that each one of you do. Maria, Rosio, Drew, Wanda, Russ, you're amazing. This state is incredibly fortunate to be able to have each one of you supporting the service members, veterans, and their families. And let that never be forgotten. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas.
All right. So I think it is now time for Miss Dee Person to take it away. Thanks, Dee.
All right. Again, what a great discussion. Thank you so much to our panelists. If nothing else, the takeaway is to please consider registering and joining our Be Connected Community Corps. There are so many levels to get involved. We'll make sure to put that into the chat box again so that you can easily access and register. For some reason, if you hit a firewall within your organization or your personal firewalls, you can always call our support line and they will help sign you up and walk you through what we call our JOT form to register. So I just want to point that out. So what's next? We have 2 breakout sessions today, 6 great options again to choose from, just like yesterday in each session. The second group of sessions are interactive. Again, a chance for you to jump in, give ideas, come up with solutions, and they will be moderated by our GTOs, our Government Transformation Office. So please consider staying on today for not only the first group of breakout sessions, but also the second one. In the chat box, you'll find a helpful video guide to help you navigate the event platform if you're not as familiar, if today is your first day joining us. If not, if you were here yesterday, feel free to hop over after about a 10-minute break here. We will start our sessions here after that 10-minute break. We also want to let you know that you will receive, or may have already received, a link for surveys in an email from us, as well as a JOT form that we're calling Continue the Conversation. So if there's something that you just really enjoyed yesterday, something that you are passionate about and want to get involved in your area, your region, please fill out the Continue the Conversation JOT form. That will allow us to gather everyone's emails and send out a joint email so that you can gather again virtually or perhaps in person to continue these conversations, continue to solve and come up with solutions. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the symposium today. We will see you back here at 11:30 for our closing general session. For those who have to get busy with their day, I also want you to know if you have a lunch break, feel free to join us at 12 o'clock. We'll have our virtual lounge again today from 12 to 12:30. You can access that through the event center. Today's focus will be on our career seekers, those who may be unemployed, underemployed, or just looking for new opportunities. So join us at 12 for that if you have to step away. And last but not least, all of the recordings are available from yesterday's sessions already. So thank you to our virtual platform team for getting those recordings up so quickly. They are accessible by clicking on the agenda when you go to the virtual event center. Again, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you back at 11:30.